road section gang at work is a sight that most people don't think much about. It is simply something that is taken for granted, a task that begins in the springtime and continues throughout the summer. In the mountains of New Mexico and Colorado, the track crews of the Cumbres and Toltec Scenic Railroad spend the summer maintaining the track so summertime tourists can enjoy a safe and enjoyable ride. Still, when the train pulls into Cumbres Pass, Colorado, not many people think much about the track. Although this scene looks as if it is the dead of winter, it was in fact shot on April 30th, 1991. While most other people are thinking about lawnmowers and summer barbecues, officials of the Cumbres and Toltec are concerned about one thing: opening up their snowbound railroads so the section men could get to work. Ever since the line was built in 1880, railroaders have had to deal with the mammoth snows that have stormed their way onto Cumbres Pass. This is the story of snow fighting on Cumbres, and of the fascinating machine that is employed when nothing else will clear the snow: the rotary snowplow.
Rotary snowplow to the Rockies. The opening of the Cumbres and Toltec Scenic Railroad.
Today's Cumbres and Toltec Scenic Railroad between Chama, New Mexico and Antonito, Colorado is a remnant of the famous Denver and Rio Grande Railroad's once extensive narrow gauge system. Running from late May to mid-October, the CNTS takes passengers into the Rockies for a day of scenery and history. The Cumbres and Toltec is one of the premier restored railroads in the country, as it has changed little from the 1930s. The old buildings, cars, and steam locomotives make it a priceless relic of times long past. Before the start of the tourist season, crews usually are busy repairing cars and locomotives, making sure that all is in order for the start of operations. About the biggest excitement is when the freshly overhauled locomotives make a short test run a few miles up the line to Lobato. Since the railroad doesn't open for business until the end of May, snow isn't usually a problem. Every few years, however, so much snow falls on the line that it is necessary to remove it before the start of the season. 1991 is such a year, when even Chama is getting snow at the end of April. a new coat of paint. Rotary snowplow OY is being ready to once again clear the line over Cumbres, a task that it had last performed in 1983. Even when the Denver and Rio Grande Western ran the line all winter, the use of the rotary snowplow was not a yearly occurrence. Most of the time, a large plow attached to the front of the steam locomotive was sufficient to keep the tracks clear. Still, when all else failed, the Rio Grande had several rotaries that it employed to open up its narrow gauge lines. Today, two examples still remain on the Cumbres and Toltec. The older rotary, built in 1889 and called the OM, has spent nearly its entire career based in Chama. Although it is still operational, OM spends most of its time standing in the same spot in which it has always stood, waiting for the next call to service. The OY was built in 1923 by the American Locomotive Company, and for most of its career it was based in Alamosa, Colorado. Often it could be found plowing westward toward Chama, while the OM plowed east toward Alamosa.
Business at least.
In essence, the rotary is a large version of the modern-day snowblower. The OY, however, is much more intricate than the machine one uses to clear the driveway.
Basically, this is a steam locomotive in a box, essentially. There's a locomotive boiler here, coal-fired, just like the steam locomotives. It powers two cylinders that are mounted up toward the front, which turn a bevel gear set, which turns the main shaft that turns the blade up on the front. This is where the fireman hangs out. We generally carry two of them because it sucks up a lot of coal. It's got a regular firebox door on this thing. There isn't a whole lot of fire in there right now, so we'll throw a little bit in. Burns probably getting up the top of the hill. We'll probably burn about 5 to 6 tons of coal. Coal's hard to fire. It steams real well. It's got a lot of firebox in here, a big grate area, and the tube length is pretty short, so it drafts real well. Carries 190 pounds of steam pressure. There's a water gauge right here, shows about a half a glass. There's a steam gauge, shows you how much steam pressure, so the fireman has an idea what's going on. I guess that's basically it here. Let me go up to the side over here. In here, here's another water glass here, and the gauge cocks, and an injector for putting water in. There's two injectors, one on this side, and one on the other side, one on this side. The one on the other side is hooked up to the rotary's tender itself. This one is hooked up to the water car that's following. So there's two separate water cars. To get up to the top of the hill, we'll probably go through about 10,000 gallons of water, somewhere around there. This is the main reservoir. There's an air compressor on the other side that pumps up air that runs the brakes on the rotary as well as runs the flanger underneath it. You notice there's an air date here from Alamosa in February 1936. Shows some of the history here. There's the steam pressure gauge for the wheelman, as well as his air brake gauge tells him what's going on here. There's a Johnson bar here. This controls the forward and reverse of the wheel itself, as well as the throttle here, which controls the speed of it. We have two hydrostatic lubricators here and over here, and they provide oil lubrication to the cylinders and the valves, as well as the steam half of the air compressor. This here's the steam dome for the boiler, and you can see all of the taps off of this for running the injectors and the lubricators and running the air pump, and the dynamo for the lights. This is the dynamo that runs the lights on the rotary, the headlight, as well as all the cab lights and interior lights on it. This lever right here with a rope on it, the whistle. This is the dry pipe running to the cylinders on each side. There's one over here too. These are the check valves here for the injector feed lines. It's interesting that both check valves are on the same side of the boiler on this thing. This one here is the check valve for the injector on the other side, and the pipe crosses over to the other side of the boiler. And this is the check valve for the injector on this side.
What is the check valve?
The check valve is keeps the water from going back through the injector when the injector's not running. It shuts off the steam and water flow out of the boiler. So the water can go in to fill the boiler, but it can't run back out when it's not running. This is the air compressor on the rotary. This is a single stage 11-inch air compressor. It runs the air brakes on the rotary as well as the flanger that drops down between the rails. This is the pilot house up here. This is where the pilot rides to run the whole show from up here. This lever here controls the flanger, which drops down between the rails behind the front truck and digs the ice and snow out from between the rails. When the lever is up, the flanger is all the way up. When it's down, it's dropped down between the rails. This brake valve here is the independent brake for the rotary itself. By moving it this way, it sets up the brake. This rope here rings a bell that tells the wheelman how to run the blade. 2 rings means go, 1 means stop, 3 means slow down. Also up here, the rotary pilot has a whistle cord that tells everybody what to do when the engine's falling behind, whether to slow down, speed up, stop, go backwards, whatever. This big wheel here flops the hood from one side to the other for throwing the snow from one side of the track to the other. Okay, underneath the floor here are all the inner workings of the rotary. This is the big bevel gear sets that make the blade move up front. There's the 2 engine units on each side are not connected together except for through the bevel gear. They're not on a solid continuous axle in any way. Simple as it looks on the outside. By simply doing this and this, a whole bunch of neat stuff starts to happen.